why we should learn about entrepreneur mindset. And okay, so this is something that I'm very passionate about, and something that I've learned through my journey of being an entrepreneur for the past 14 years. Even if you don't know me, even if you just do your own research, and you will find out that currently about 50% of people who start their business actually fail after 5 years. So that is a huge number, right? Like half of the people who start their own business actually fail. And interestingly, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, this percentage is actually very high. It's about 90%. So imagine that, like 20 years ago, 90%, almost everyone who started a business fail, after 5 years, 6 years. So that is like crazy number. And because there's now, since 1980s, 1990s, there's a lot of people who started to educate people about entrepreneurship. A lot of gurus out there that started teaching people how to really succeed in business. So that number actually became less and less, but it's still half. It's still around 50%, so it's still quite high. And what I learned is that in most of the case, it's about the mindset. And what do I mean by the mindset? So mindset is actually the mental frameworks that we have, like what we have taken from growing up, learning from maybe school or our parents, people that we know. So what we are used to, there is, like business course. There is, you go to school, take your MBA, or maybe you go to a specific business school, right? So a lot of those are logic, and those are part of our conscious mind. So we have two minds. So one is the conscious mind, and then we have the unconscious mind. So a lot of the learnings that you have taken in from school goes into your conscious mind, and if you have practiced it outside of school, then it's possible that you have developed it unconsciously, but typically it's just the conscious mind. And so when I talk about the mindset, I specifically focus on the unconscious mind. So that's part of our mind that is untapped. So it's all our beliefs, our values, programming patterns that we have created, ever since we're young. And so that's how it's placed inside our unconscious mind. And there's so much resources there. But the thing is, some of those resources or some of those things that in our unconscious mind is also not useful for us. So that those are the things that stop us, and some causes us like to feel fear or anxiety even before starting the business itself. And that's where I can come in and help people get rid of that, overcome those fears, so that they can easily start the business that they want. And so this is critical, because even if you just increase this, your chance of succeeding in business is exponential already. A huge factor of that is in the mind. And so one of the things that I talk about when I train people when it comes to entrepreneurship is we have what I call a construct. So I spoke about frameworks earlier, right? And each and every one of us, we have our own construct. So construct is a word, the root word of, let's say, for example, construction. So if you know construction, right, like a building, people who are constructing building. So that's the root word, construct. And construct means creating something like from an idea or a concept. And each and every one of us have different constructs. So our job is to become more aware of our different constructs, because that's why self-awareness is so critical. Because the more we become self-aware, the more we become familiar with our constructs in our mind, in our unconscious mind, then the more power we can have, because we can actually now change them. You know, after awareness comes choice. So now we have a choice, like, oh, okay, do I want to keep this construct because it's working for me? Or maybe it's not working for me, then I will get rid of this construct and I will create a new one. So that is the amazing thing that we have, as long as you are willing to dig deep and know yourself more. You know, in coaching, we have what we call a blind spot. So a blind spot is something that you cannot see. Like, you know, when you are driving, if any of you know how to drive, and you know, when you are driving, you look at the side mirror and you can see cars on the side, but there is a spot there, you know, a certain angle that you won't be able to see the cars on the side, right? So that's called a blind spot. So in our mind, we also have blind spots. And the job of a coach, or let's say, for example, a mentor, is to help you identify those blind spots. And that's what I do. And the more you can identify those blind spots, the greater your self-awareness will be, right? So that's why it's so important to learn about entrepreneurial mindset. You know, like, what does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? Because then your chances of succeeding in business increase dramatically, right? So final words on this is that, remember, your business, when you start a business, the growth of your business will depend on your own growth as an entrepreneur. So that's how critical your own entrepreneurial mindset is. Because, you know, the better you become, the wider, the more expanded your mindset is, the bigger your business becomes as well, right? Yes. So I hope I've answered that question. What are your plans for the next 5 to 10 years of your business? So in my big dream, in my lifetime, I want to help a million entrepreneurs. You know, whether it's, you know, through my training, through my coaching, or through, you know, the content that I put out there. Just, you know, educating them, motivating them, inspiring them. The more I can help, you know, the more meaningful my life is, and that's how I measure it. So in my lifetime, a million entrepreneurs. That's kind of like my big picture, my what we call BHAG. And I'll explain more about BHAG, you know, when I have a special guest very soon. But that's kind of like how 5 to 10 years will show up, is based on this big picture. So whatever I'm doing right now, like, you know, creating content in YouTube like this, or speaking, or training, or even coaching people one-on-one, the more I can do that, the more it fulfills that bigger vision. And a friend of mine from Australia, she's very cute. So she dropped me a message. So she asked, so yeah, your goal is helping 1 million entrepreneurs. So what if you have achieved that? You know, you have reached that target. You hit 1 million. What's next? She asked. Then I said, oh, that's an interesting question. Then I will start counting one by one. 1 million one, 1 million two, 1 million three, 1 million four. Because it never stops, right? It never stops. So I'll be super grateful if I hit that target, that 1 million, and then continue. So that's kind of like the big picture, and whatever will happen in the next 5 to 10 years will be to support that big picture.
Oh, hey there. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to click the bell button so you get updated of the new videos. See you in the next one.